Good day YouTube, my name is Ryan Brown, your fashion designer. I'm here to teach you how to cut a skirt. Now, there are many persons who are wanting to cut their own skirt, who are wanting to cut their own pants, but they don't know how to. You might see a favorite celebrity in a dress or something that you love, but you don't know how to start. I'm here to show you how to start by cutting a skirt. In cutting any garment, you would need an inch measure, a square, a straight edge, and your hip curve. Also, you would need chalk, tailored chalk, to prevent the material from soiling or anything. You use these chalks because they are easy to wash and to get rid of easily. Now, when you get all of those instruments in place, then you would want to have your measurements. Now, for a straight skirt, we will need 3 basic measurements: your length, your waist, and your hip. Now that we have our waist, our hip, and our length, we are going to proceed to cut our skirt. Now you mark a straight line up at the top here. This to give you a straight edge to work with. You use this same width, the width of this straight edge, and you mark a straight line down here. The same width again, you mark a straight line here. Now, the reason for marking these two lines are this is a split, so we're going to put a split in the back, and the zipper allowance. Okay? Now, the waistband of the skirt will be 1.25 inches. So we place the 1.25 inches at that straight line. The depth of the waist from the waist to the hip would be 8.5, and that is based on the person's hip. So this hip is 42. We give it an 8.5 for the depth of the hip. We proceed and we make the length of the skirt, which is 24. So this is a 24 plus 1.5 inches for turn up, for hemming allowance. Good. Now that we have done that, we mark a straight line across here. Good. So now we have our length, our hip, and our waist measurement. Now, to make a skirt, you would divide each measurement into a quarter. So a quarter of 42 would be 10.5. 10.5 from this line. Remember, it's not from this line, because this line is where we're going to put a split. This is the line you measure from. Keep note of that. Then quarter would be 10.5, and then add an inch for stitching allowance. Now, this is your preference. If you want to add 1/2 inch, you can. If you want to add 3/4 inch, you can. But I prefer to use an inch, just in case the person might find a problem, want to let out somewhere. You might put on a little weight, then you'll have the let out to do that. Now, quarter of the waist, which is 32, 1/8 inch. Oh, now we will add an inch for that, add a next inch for stitching allowance. Now, in order to get the bottom of the skirt, we will have to measure all the way out here. You're supposed to get 11.5. It's 10.5 plus 1, 11.5. You take the same 11.5 down here, and you will take off 3/4 inch. Now, why do I do this? We do not want the skirt to look like a box. We want the skirt to have a proper shape, to shape good. Even though it's a straight skirt, you must taper it in order to get it to have a good shape. So now that we have find our hip, find our waist, and know where our length is, we're going to use our square to connect the dots. We connect from this to this. Good. We use our hip curve and we connect here. Good. So now that we have connected everything and you see the shape of your skirt, now in order to find the dot, where the dot is, we do not measure the inch over here, because this is what we call our stitching allowance. We would stitch in this line. We will stitch in this line. So therefore that do not include in the dot. The dot start from here. Good. We fold the inch measure in half, find the center, and then we center, so that's an inch I'd put there for the dart. We put 1/2 inch over here and 1/2 inch here, and that's your dart. Now for the back dart, we will come down 4 inch. It's good to taper off your dart like pencil. When you sharpen a pencil and all the point is fine, that's how you do your skirt dart, and that is your dart. So then for the split now, for a skirt of this length, you want the person to have good vent that they can walk properly. So I would cut this for 6 inch, and that is the back of your skirt already cut. It's going to be stitched, and now we notch the areas. So this is the dart, and we notch it that we can find it when it's there. So now we have our back well cut and ready to now cut the front. We already now cut the front of our skirt. As I said before, this part is the zip allowance. There won't be any zip in the front. Therefore, where the straight edge is, I will see this is the part of the front of the skirt. It is folded. There's no join in the front or anything. So therefore, we place this 1 inch zip allowance over here. It is not in line. The line is in line with the fold edge, but this part is over. So that's the zip here. And to cut the front of the skirt is very easy, because now that we have our line out, everything line out, we just proceed to cut. That's the front of your skirt. Now there's a little difference from the back. We will use our hip curve to make a smooth little curve down the edge here. Now this is about 3/4 of an inch or an inch, nothing more, nothing less. And this gives your skirt a proper fit. Prevent the line and pucker at the front. We still find the dart in our front, and we mark a dart allowance. Now we had made the back 4 inches. We are now going to make this 3.5. And that's a good reason. That's a good reason. You don't want the front of the dart to come down too far, because it might create a pucker at the end of it. And remember, always pencil up your dart in a nice, smooth, consistent. And that's your straight skirt already cut. Now it's time to cut our waistband. 4 inch for the waistband. Remember, we have an 1.25 waistband. Now 1.25 is your preference also. You can either be 1.5, 2 inch, anywhere you choose. This is actually 60 and the waist is 30. Now half of 30 is 32, pardon. Half of 32 is 16. So we have 16 and we had 3 inch. That is your waist. We have finished cut our skirt and we are ready now to sew our skirt. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time, and please subscribe, share the link and share with your friends. And a lot of persons would want to know how to cut a skirt, so just share and let them understand. See you next time.